large and beautiful, like a picture in a magazine, which only made her feel worse. "Westcote," Philip said in fond tones, taking one hand off the steering wheel of his Ford Model T to gesture towards it.
"It's a lot bigger than I expected."
"Too big. Costs the earth to maintain. Never mind that. Remember what I said. It's me you're marrying, not my family, and certainly not the house. It's not as if I'll be inheriting it. My parents and my elder brother are snobs. They don't approve of me, let alone you. When I became an engineer, they were horrified because it's not a gentleman's profession."
He still didn't set off again, and she waited patiently.
"My father won't be there. He never is. He left a message at the barracks to tell me he'd have to stay up in London today to attend a meeting, but he wishes us well."
"But you sound to have plenty of other relatives."
"I doubt we'll have much to do with any of them after the war, Bella, my darling. But when a Cotterell gets engaged, there's always a family gathering, and I want to give them the chance to do the right thing by you. Publicly, at least. If they don't, well, I'll know where we stand, and I won't be coming back here again. I have some wonderful friends, people I was at boarding school with, like Tez, who'll make you welcome into our circle."
She couldn't think what to say, so made a murmuring noise to show she was listening.
"At least you'll like my sister, I can guarantee that. Georgie and I have always been close. Well, we're twins, aren't we? Spencer is 10 years older than us, so we two always stuck together because he was a bit of a bully."
The door opened, and an elderly maid greeted Philip fondly, gave Bella a perfunctory smile, and took her coat and hat before showing them into the drawing-room.
"Mother's over by the fire," he whispered. "The one standing up talking to her is Spencer."
Adeline Cotterell was seated in a huge armchair, chatting to her older son, and about a dozen people were clustered in pairs and trios round the edges of the room, with two much older women sitting on a sofa. All of them looked stiff and unfriendly. No one smiled at the newcomer. Philip's usually smiling face had turned into a stone-like mask. Mrs. Cotterell made no effort to greet Bella with more than a brief nod, accompanied by, "Miss, Jones." The older woman had spoken in terms of icy disdain. Bella had read the phrase in books, but she'd never encountered such an attitude in real life before. She didn't flinch, but stared calmly back at Mrs. Cotterell. She was as good as any of them. Philip reminded his mother that he and Bella had got engaged, and were there so that she could be introduced to his family, but Mrs. Cotterell said only, He seemed to be waiting for her to do something, but she stayed silent.
"I'll take her round to meet everyone, then."
He introduced Bella first to his elder brother. Spencer was standing at the other side of the fireplace, and he too stared at her scornfully. He looked like a haggard, much older version of Philip, but without the kindness and joie de vivre usually there in her fiancé's eyes. She already knew that Spencer had failed his medical for the army, though not why. He merely nodded at her before turning his head away. Looking angrier by the minute, Philip went on to introduce her to the two elderly cousins on the sofa. Both women followed Mrs. Cotterell's lead and greeted her as Miss, Jones? No member of his family addressed any remarks to her, other than repeating her name. By now, Bella was just as angry as Philip, but she too kept control of her feelings. These people could be as uncivil as they liked, but she had vowed to behave impeccably, whatever happened. Her father would have been horrified by these people's bad manners. He'd always told her a pauper could be as courteous as a king, and she would prove that today. She'd hoped to win over Philip's family by good manners and pleasant behaviour, so that she would at least be tolerated by them, if not liked. It was already obvious that that wasn't going to happen. They decided in advance to dislike her. Philip gave her arm a quick squeeze of sympathy as he took her across to meet his sister, who said, "I'm really happy to meet you," in a low voice.